The move we're gonna be playing with today is a little less typical Jujitsu. I mean, it exists in Jujitsu, just most people don't use it very often. You're more likely to see this in catch wrestling. It's kind of a catch wrestling staple, not so much a Jujitsu staple, even though realistically can be applied in both equally well. This one is a technique that I don't see very often. Most people don't use. I have no idea why, because it's a really high scoring technique. I don't want to say it's one of my top, but close. I use this a lot. Every time I end up in North and South, I look for it. I've heard it referred to as the butcher. I've heard it referred to as elbow drag. Josh Barnett calls it elbow to elbow. I don't really know. It's strange because it's so little used that you don't hear people talk about it very often, but it's a great technique. When you end up in North and South, the opponent can do one of two things. They can either keep their arms inside of your arms, in which case you're going to be looking for kimuras, arm bars, things like that, or they can have their arms outside of your arms. This is the case for when they go outside. They basically give you this technique. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna I can take it in either direction. In this case, I'm gonna attack his right arm. I can start spinning in toward his left. As I do that, I drag my elbow on the floor to bring his elbow across. This is the one moment where he could escape. If I don't do anything, he can turn into me. Other way. This is away from me, so into me to try to escape. So what I need to do is put pressure on the hip. So as I'm turning, I put a hand on the hip to slow down his progression toward me. Now I wrap. You may need some adjustment. If he turned a little too much, now you may need to slow him, flatten him out again, tighten this, and then you squeeze. And it's a world of pain. It's a chest compression, take your breath away, hurts like crazy. It's not one thing, it's like multiple different parts at the same time are working. So one more time. And the way I usually start is I start from side mount. I hardly ever use side mount this way. I almost always switch to having a hand by the hip and one over here, which then takes me to North and South if I did this up. So in this case, North and South, I have the arms out, or it could be one arm out, one arm in, I don't care, as long as I have one. Now I can start doing this. Place the hand on the hip, keep driving, wrap around the neck. If I need to flatten him again, I flatten him more. He's already flattened in this case. Gable grip, put my weight and squeeze. And that is the butcher. Hardly anyone uses this technique. Most schools I go to is every time I do it, people are like, what was that again? And really high scoring, simple technique, so worth adding to your arsenal.